coming. Yep. All right, All right, so in this video, we are going to show you how to change a turbo actuator on a VGT turbo on a, this is a 2015, isn't it? 17? Not 2017 Cummins, but should be for any VGT turbo Cummins. This is how you're going to change the actuator. This actuator came from City Diesel. Yep. They hooked us up with this. It's a machine part. I think it's pretty sick. But first things first, we're going to get the truck up in the air. Yes, and it is a self-calibrating, which is what you want for these because they are they're very finicky. First things first, jack the truck up. We're going to throw it on jack stands, pull this tire off, and get this inner fender well out. Alright, so after you pull the wheel, you have 8mm bolts throughout the fender. You got 2 back here. You got to take the mud flap bolts out, which are Phillips. And then this one had a 10mm here. And I think that is it. I don't think there's any on the bottom. And then you pull the inner fender liner out to get to the actuator back there.
One more up there.
Alright, so I'll get the fender liner out. And we're going to pull this lower radiator hose off at this clamp to drain the coolant into these buckets. And we just soaked the actuator. This is the actuator. And with the new actuator he got, you don't have to take the faceplate off. It's coming off of the 2 Allen bolts on top, and then there is 2 Allen bolts on the bottom. So that whole apparatus comes off as one piece. And then the new one is pre-calibrated, so we should be able to just plug it in the harness. There's a harness extension, and then after that's plugged in, we cycle the key to make sure that it moves because it's going to auto calibrate. And then we're going to put the arm on the turbo side all the way towards the exhaust this way. You'll see it when we get this off. And then that's when we put the new actuator over that, bolt it back in with the new bolts, and it should be good. But now we're going to try to get these Allen key bolts out because the bottom left one, well really both bottom ones, but the bottom left tends to break. So we're going to drain the coolant first, try to get those bolts out, shut the door because it's getting cold out, and see you in a minute.
Huh. Not going as planned. Alright, so the lower left bolt did exactly what we thought.
So now we're going to try to weld the Allen key to the head of the bolt.
This is where we're at.
Yep. It's smaller nut, sir. Too big.
Smaller nut.
Yep. Too big.
This is attempt number, I guess you could call this 2. Because stripping it was number 1.
Yeah, we had to end up cutting that stud at the bracket and just pull it off. And now we're gonna have to just put vice grips on the stud, get the old stud out. Worst case, cut it flush, re-drill and tap it, but at least it's out.
So this is how we know it's not the turbo, it's just the actuator. This moves freely. They say to leave it facing that way when you install a new one.
Alright, so now he's cleaning the mating surface with a razor blade for the new actuator to go on. It says to make sure that you do not use any oils or like white lithium grease or whatever to put around the O-ring. It says don't do it. So just clean it up with a razor blade and we will wipe it off with brake clean and then put the new actuator on. Alright, so now what we're going to do is plug it in and we're going to cycle the key to make sure the actuator, calibrates?
The gear, just make sure the gear moves. That way you don't get like a faulty actuator.
Yeah, it's self-calibrating, so should be able to just plug it in, cycle it, be good to go, and then hook it up.
Try to find a place to sit.
Yes, sir. Fluid liner's going back in. He's fighting with the 10 mil on the bumper. Actuator is torqued to 25 inch-pounds. Wiring is zip side up. We should be able to throw the wheel back on, put it on the ground, and start putting coolant in it. All right, we got about, I'd say 5 gallons into the reservoir. Gonna start the truck and begin bleeding the coolant. Got about maybe a gallon left of what came out. Should start suck it down. All right, so that's it. Coolant's bled, truck's up to 10. Seems to be good, and we're gonna take it for a test drive. Well, we're gonna clear the code, then take it for a test drive, and everything should be all set. Also, don't forget to change your air filters. Trucks don't run good with the shitty air filters. Have a good one.